Now, we come to the second section, but before I continue to the second section, which is the Q&A session to the floor, I would like to ask all of you, or just a brief survey about one particular thing. Basically, energy transitions, we need to, one way for us to transition is to electrify the way we live. And one way to electrify the way we live is by adopting electric vehicles. Now, there are, I would say that there are some pros and cons in this issue. So, for those of you who agree that electric vehicle is good for the environment, can you please raise your hand? One guy, two, three, four. I think one more guy over there, five, right? Okay. For those of you who disagree with it, like maybe you're still unsure, or I don't think it's a good solution for the environment. Like if you're really sure that no, electric vehicle is not good for the environment, can you raise your hand? One. Very interesting. Two. Three. Okay. Okay. For those of you in between, we can, maybe you can talk about it in the Q&A session, everyone. So please, any of you who would like to ask questions about the book or the energy transition in general, please raise your hand. One lady over there. Two. Oh, sorry. You can ask the questions in Indonesian language, or English language. Okay, that's fine. Three. Okay. So please, the first one is the lady on my left side.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It's such a very insightful discussion here. I would like to actually, I'm not totally disagree about the electrify the vehicle, but here I still in the dilemma because of my like knowledge maybe here. Um, I would like to ask about your opinion that you mentioned in the middle of the session that about the dilemmas in losing job for some professional if that we electrify the vehicle here, such as maybe mechanic or mechanic such and everything. However, here I do believe that for there always the cons for the innovation. Let's say that nowadays there are many jobs that already replaced by the robot and also the AI. I think it's the same case here with the concern that we discuss here. So, uh, according to you, but I because I haven't read that book yet. So according to you, which one is this give the smaller impact to the climate that between what is this the fuel electricity and also because as we know that electricity also demands the what is that the energy transition, yeah, that of course give the damage also in to the climate. If as I observe now that the campaign is for the electrify the vehicle and any kind of and anything that energy that we have, maybe here I do believe that electricity is better than the fuel there. So, about what Indonesians has here, as we know that we have the big resources here, and what is the big dilemma for the Indonesian, maybe government or any kind of the who take the concern here to implement this, considering our huge geography here, as we know that there are many areas that hasn't has the electricity yet, and also other question: will this book will be provided in this library? Thank you.
Okay, so the first question from the I think I don't know if I represent the point of view of the economists right or not. The mainstream view I think is they they like to push for uh they like to push for like probably trading. The economists usually don't like to halt trading, and by that means by that I mean when we're having like electric vehicles, we're importing electric vehicle from elsewhere. We're we will be we will be like doing something that will be affecting our jobs in the like probably many of them are in the informal market, informal job sectors like the mechanic, but also probably it will also impact like people in Astra manufacturing companies. It will also impact them as well. Basically, when we are importing these technologies, we will be losing jobs on those sectors. Yes, I think it will happen. I mean, if it's happening in full force, which I don't think it will happen in the near future. But if it happens in the full force, I think it will like replacing people's jobs here. But the question is whether or not the new jobs will grow, right? There will be a demand for new jobs. The problem is, there will be there will be new jobs, of course. The theory is that when you're like generating new productivity enough, like you're having a factory, you're producing something, and this factory are producing something as fast, right? As a consequence, the jobs will be done by the factory, and you will need to only like supply it with the another work that you have. The problem is when this kind of jobs are being taken from you. These jobs, usually the mechanic in both the like small workshop and the manufacturing factories. The question is when the job are taken from them, what kind of job will be available for them in the future? Whether or not is it will be like informal jobs. The problem is right now our economy is right now is growing like 5% for 4 to 5% a year, but right now we do not have like a job growth in the market. The job growth in the market is mostly informal jobs, and informal jobs usually are not a good job. The problem is that when we're talking about there will always be a job when the economy is growing. There will be a new job, but the question is, will it be a good job or not? We're talking about the job growth in Indonesia. People are right now can find job very easily. Like they just need to register with the nearest Gojek.
Okay.
That's a job growth basically.
Yep.
But that's not a good job growth. People probably our economy can continue to grow even though like there's a the industrialization probably or manufacturing or vehicle manufacturing factory are closed down. Maybe there will be still a job growth, but the problem is whether or not that job growth is producing good jobs or not.
Yeah, the quality of the
Yeah,
job availability.
the quality of the job available. So basically, that's the first question. I think I'm trying to respond that with another question.
Okay.
And the second question would be the
Government
response. The government response, I think it's still very ambiguous. I think it's also addressed in my response when I'm saying that we have incoherent policies in regard to energy transition. Basically, we do not make any like new elaboration, we are not trying to establish new rules or guidelines in regard to company environmental impact assessment. What we're having right now is something that we inherit from the Cipta Kerja, the revision of our work and business law, basically. And we do not have that yet. Basically, the government are very much the response of the government is scattered in every sector. The state-owned companies are having basically the and have their own like stance on this, and I
Yep.
don't think they're communicating it very openly. But I think internally they have like this stance that do not very much support the energy transition. we're talking about the energy company, of course, they do not have any interest in this. We're talking about like probably some segments in the government probably have a different style from the other parts of the government. Probably the foreign ministry will have like a more diplomatic stance toward this and trying to incorporate the interests of the international forum. But of course, when we're talking about ministries who are often having to address and having to negotiate and having being lobbied by the energy company, probably they will have like other stance, and probably this all these stances everywhere are not being laid out on the table. They're not being put on the table. I mean, they have their own stances, but basically every companies have their own stance. Every part of the government, every ministry probably have their own stance, but they do not open them. They just, yeah, I mean, they operating like every day, like they're not doing, they're operating like every day. They do not open they do not express their political or social view in regard to this, but yeah, they are operating. They're
It's like just a brief answer. Do you see the government has any coherence about this issue, or like you said, it's actually fragmented among ministries and among government agencies?
it's fragmented among ministries, and also when we're talking about the president trying to like maintaining like an appearance of coherence, of course, in the international forum. He's trying to say that we have so many carbon reserve here. We're supporting like, I think the last Prabowo statement about energy transitions said that he wants to push forward the energy transition, the target year, right? I think he will push it to like 2015. We're net zero at 2015. But this is trying to like maintain the appearance that we have a coherent government. But on reality, I think, I mean, we have a president who are trying to maintain the intactness of the government, but I mean, the interests of every party is here. They have a very different interest, probably. Even when we're talking about Prabowo and Bahlil, those two people, those two individuals, those two very influential individuals have different interests.
Okay. Do you want to add something? Or all right. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mas Gege, I want to ask two questions. The first one is from your explanation. So the GTP is couched in a tension between two big interests, between the need for rapid transition and to combat the worsening climate change, and the second interest is for the significant social and economic disruptions. I imagine what do we need to do? Just do we just gonna left those who haven't had the fossil fuels, or do they so we need to do the acceleration, or do we need to just left them or make them to skip those phase and jump into the new energy, to the new clean energy? Or are there any other alternative frameworks, policies that can that we may adopt to bridge this gap? And it's the first question, and the second one, also from your explanation, so the GTP, I don't know, is involved significant international funding and influence, political influence. How then we can make sure that this transition align with the local needs? Because maybe those indigenous people don't really need this clean energy, and so on. I cannot imagine them to to have a solar panel and like that. And in this case, what role should the large fossil fuel corporations play their roles in GTB? Thank you.
The first one, the fossil fuel transition. I mean, it's interesting to note that the electricity like provision in Indonesia, the last like 5 or 3 years, there's like a rapid development in regard to electric provision by the PLN, and many of parts of Indonesia right now is being like on grid like electricity provision. So there were actually some parts, some islands in Indonesia that depended on off-grid solar panel. They're right now being included in the on-grid because of the balance interest is right now to make revenue as much as possible. They need to sell their oversupply like energy as fast as possible, and what they can do is trying to like connect everyone into their grid. And then we already have like some off-grid consumers and off-grid communities there right now. They were used to like solar panels. Probably they can I mean, they do not have like a really big capacities for electricity, but they're on off-grid right now. They're being the consumers, pelanggan PLN, the consumers of PLN. And we have that dimension as well. I mean, the PLN trying to like sell electricity's source from, of course, when we're talking about PLN, their source from the coal power plant that they have already strike agreement with to buy electricity from. So they have the need to sell their overabundance of electricity. And when we're talking about these indigenous communities, the question when we're talking about the indigenous communities are currently also being like, we're talking the indigenous community. There are indigenous community who do not need to have like electricity. They're still trying to maintain their traditional way, but more and more, and we're talking about the young generation, and they usually have the need to like having a secure jobs. They're going to the school. They're being exposed to like the how people live, and of course the older people also being subjected to like the wajib belajar. They're increasingly in need of money. So when they're trying to enter the job market, they're trying to like being more involved in the like life uh with the more bigger community around them. They will eventually will have the need as well to like use the electricity. So when we're talking about the indigenous, the people in the interior, probably they would not need one. But people who are already being exposed, and we're talking about the indigenous people whose number are very many right now, they will also need electricity. And I'm talking about people who are, when we're coming to their house and they're not having the electricity, when they're not having a constant full electricity in their house, they will be like complaining because there I mean, when we're talking about the indigenous people, they always keep also comparing themselves to others, people who are in the urban area or in the neighbor village. They already have like electricity. They need they're capable of like even the simple like uh element of life, like capable of charging their cell phone, capable of watching television, is something that they want to also have in their life. So basically, there are also people who are who will be preferring to have like electricity. So I don't know. Probably we will also have we also have other communities we can account for and we need to consider for. But That's my answer for now.